Over the course of the last year, I set out to explore St. Louis culture through food. I met new people, tasted new things. I was inspired to push my own boundaries. Like anyone else in the industry, I had to learn to adapt or throw in the towel. It's been tough, to put it lightly. It was the year that none of us saw coming. But still, I can't help to feel grateful for the good things that came of it. The best journeys often take us somewhere we never expected to go. But then again, you can say the same about the worst. As a chef, I need to stay curious in order to evolve. For me, that means looking beyond a great meal to learn more about who made it and what inspires them to cook. Every great city has great food. I'm going on a journey around the world right here in St. Louis to find good food and experience other cultures. I'm on a quest to find passionate chefs who cooks from the heart. Because food is love.
It's gonna be delicious.
Food is love. Love your food.
Cheers. Cheers to ramen stock, pork stock. Here we go.
Hanging out in different kitchens every day has its advantages, but it does come with a certain amount of risk if you have a weak constitution.
So this is the blood stew.
Okay.
So
We better get another plate, I think.
this is usually bits of pork. So,
Okay.
but then there's also will be included tripe and there's probably shoulder. I mean, it's all bits, all different kinds of pieces, cuts of pork.
The pig's ear, they cut it up into slices, and that's when you go to bite it and you feel a little crunch. It's usually the cartilage from the pig's ear.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna
Sounds delicious.
I love sweetbreads. To me, it's one of the best.
This is the part where I can quote a line from the classic Anthony Hopkins role from the famous 90s psycho thriller, but I won't, because I'm sure you get the reference. But in reality, it's quite delicious. Sans the fava bean and served here with chimichurri.
The best way to eat this is right next to the grill. So like that, with the chimichurri, and I think it's the best. You let me know. You can taste the lemon, you can taste the salt, the tenders of the sweet bread.
What does it mean, kimchi?
Kimchi is the fermentation or pickling of vegetable. The idea of making kimchi was to preserve food for a longer period of time.
Yeah, I'm Scandinavian, and we do sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut is your kimchi.
I think a lot of people are hesitant to try kimchi. You know, it's all like, well, it doesn't smell good or it's strong.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
So this is where it all happens. Here's a line. Mom's making some chicken feet to eat. If you
Chicken feet?
Yeah.
You actually eat them?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? But you trim the nails?
Yes.
Trim the nail.
Okay.
You can take one. Try one.
No, I mean, I'm sure I like it.
Try one.
Just eat it like this?
Don't eat the bones. Leave that to the dog. Tasty, right?
You're just throwing me in right off the bat, aren't you?
I don't know. Mom was good. You just happened to walk in when it happened.
Wow, that's awesome. If I can stress anything, let it be known that I'm not suffering any lack of diversity in my diet. The restaurant owner, on average, is mostly an optimist. How else can you explain the desire to open a business that flirts with chaos on a daily basis, operates on a thin margin, and invites guests in? Even despite the occasional scathing review, it can be a thankless job.
I remember when I was leaving the Ritz, and it was, aren't you scared, like, what if the business fails? And I, thought about it for a second, and I'm like, I'm more afraid of not trying.
Yeah.
Like, if we open on the first day, if those doors open and the first customer walks in, it worked.
The quality of what you're doing is what drives the business, and that's the whole thing. There's love behind it.
I agree, 100%.
I don't know if you ever heard the term food is love.
I've heard it someplace.
Yeah, and that's why we're that certain breed of people in the restaurant business. You have to be certain kind of person or personality. I think that something went wrong when we were created because we're all a little crazy.
Or maybe it went well.
Or maybe it went well. Yeah, I like that version better.
And something's wrong with everyone
else. But the ones who do it for any real amount of time are in it for something more than just gratitude, and almost certainly not for the money.
This is what I was bred to do.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely love the community. Like, I like people, you know, and I appreciate everyone coming in, spending their hard-earned money with me, or spending the time, you know, their kids' birthdays. I mean, 12-year-old kids, they can go to Chuck E. Cheese, but they want a tofu and lemongrass dish from my Lee's, you know? I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But it's such a beautiful thing because that's what food does. In St. Louis, you know, I'm proud of the food community here.
I enjoy cooking. I enjoy cooking for people, cooking for my friends. I love cooking. Like you said, food is love, so it's how you transmit. You know, like our hearts are kitchens, and we feed everybody from our hearts.
I like that.
It's the Olmec. It's an Olmec tradition from the Olmec tribes. They say our hearts are kitchens.
So it started with you trying to please your husband. That's why you did all this cooking?
We've had a conversation where, like, a few women that I know, they end up marrying somebody from another culture, and then they're, you know, missing the food, or there's nobody cooking it, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You find yourself wanting to, like, make that for them.
I told you yesterday, I am fulfilling my mom's dreams for me, but also for herself. She never got to own her own restaurant like that. And when my mother cooked at the height of their career in the 80s and early 90s, women were not respected as much as men, and that really hurt my mom's career.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of my ambition, a lot of what I do because of my mother. I wanted to prove to the world that she's the best, and I'm fulfilling her dream. You know, she never got to do what I do. She never got to own restaurants and several restaurants and get James Beard nominations and all that stuff. She's never had the opportunity to do it. Nobody gave her time of day.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't call her chef, they called her cook.
A lot of intolerance for other people, racism, is born out of ignorance. My mother and my father, they directed me on what I would say. I grew up in the church. The church family directed us on how we should act, what we should do, what we should say. And I saw a generation of kids coming that didn't know that anymore, that I could dedicate myself to being a role model. My intentions and my messages and what I really wanted to do with this restaurant is a dream come true.
So it's kind of a little bit like a church for some of these young kids.
I love to teach. It was sort of a natural fit. If you look at the history of Cajun dining, if you look at the history of Creole dining and so forth, that's what it was. It was a diversity of food, a diversity of taste coming together to make something, really make it one.
And a diverse group of people, too.
And a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
And so it was so that people could find the flavor that they loved in it. It was somewhere in it. It wasn't 100% what you'd eaten, but there was that morsel of something that you really loved, okay? Yeah. And it made you have a higher tolerance for the thing in there that you didn't love.
Yeah, and you know, doesn't matter what the flavors are, what the colors are, it can go together beautifully.
Which is you're a little bit like people.
There have been moments of magic on the show where something happens on camera. I take these little moments of spontaneity like they're signs. Sitting here in a room in St. Louis, and I just so happened to see this book. It was up here, Culinary. That's a great book, by the way, a great cookbook. This story is about Denmark, and this is my past. I'm looking at this picture, and it's my dad in the book. And I mean, what's the chances of finding this book on this very shelf in St. Louis, next to this book, St. Louis, Then and Now? I mean, here I am exploring all this wonderful food. It keeps teaching me things, how we're forever connected to the past. You know, I don't know, is it an omen or is it a lesson? One of the coolest things was when Quy Tran from Noodle House was showing us the original location of his family's restaurant. As we walked past the door, it just happened to be open. He hadn't been inside for over 10 years, and it became a really cool moment that just unfolded on TV.
You know, oh, it's open. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, it is open. Holy cow. How about that?
Are we trespassing?
We are, but it's okay.
Okay.
Holy, let me tell you something. This is crazy. I haven't been in here in 10 years.
Wow.
Wow, so when we left, holy cow, like this is a very, like, I'm getting like goosebumps. I haven't been in this building in 10 years. This is the first time I've been back inside. Like I've driven past, but I've never been inside of this. I'm gonna have to take pictures myself, but yes, so wow, holy cow. This is, so we redid this whole thing and the hole was here.
Wow.
The hole was here, so you come in and order and you know, I mean, like you could end up sitting at the counter, the cash register was here. I mean, the cash register was back here and you could just order. Holy cow, this is crazy. But for 25 years we were here. So yeah, we did a little remodeling, but this is crazy. This is where I grew up, Chef.
Wow.
You know? 25 years.
I can't believe the door was open.
I was like, whoa, I looked, I was like, is that door open? And I was like, it is open. So I mean, look at this. This is, you know, the walk-in cooler was here. So the hood was there. We cranked it out. And crazy thing was, you know, to take out the trash, you have to go down the stairs. You go down the stairs and, oh, that was a nightmare. I haven't been into this space over 10 years.
Wow.
We left here November 2009. So that was the last time I was here.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe that door is open. So it's a lot of memories here.
Look at those murals.
It opened as a Chinese restaurant because that's what was selling.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, okay, we're gonna do Chinese food, but how do you distinguish yourself? How do you distinguish yourself as a Chinese restaurant? So at that time, Mom goes, well, we're Vietnamese. Why don't we sell Vietnamese food? So we started with like, you know, a 6-item menu of Vietnamese food. And, you know, in '86, we started to build upon it. And then in '87, a man named Joe Pollock, he was the St. Louis Post-Dispatch food critic. He came in and he ate. And then he wrote an article, a review, saying, I've never had Vietnamese food before in my life, but everybody should get down here and eat it because it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's noodle soups and all these herbs and, you know, whatever. I've never had anything like it. And so from there, the rest is history. This is great. This is great. I haven't walked in here in over 10 years. I can't believe that door is even open.
Well, it was meant to be.
You know?
It was meant to be. Yeah.
You're meant to be.
Well,
it's because of you. I thank you for, because if I'm not with you today, I don't walk into this place I left over 10 years ago. You know, my whole childhood was here. Everything. I picked up a wok at the age of 12. I cooked my first dish here, you know. Well, come on, let's leave before we get in trouble.
Can you believe this place was open?
Dude, I haven't been here. I like literally had goosebumps.
When we started filming season 1 of Food is Love, it was not our intention to document the effects of a worldwide pandemic. But a couple of months in, it seems like COVID would be an unavoidable subject. We saw some great food spots close and watched how decades of hard work unraveled in the course of a few months. But in spite of the elephant in the room, I set out to tell the story of the people who's been driving the growth in St. Louis. Come what may, we decided that nothing was going to stop us. So business-wise, how are you doing now with all these restrictions, COVID restrictions?
Not good. Every customer costs you more now.
Take safety precautions, but come out and support the restaurants. It's tough.
I'm super grateful for our platform of friends and customers. They kept patronizing with us. They become the core of this business for me, you know, because no matter what, there's always support. With that particular support, for me, it keeps me going, you know.
I see that in my restaurants. People come in and they're spending money that they normally wouldn't because they know we're in trouble.
The revenue and the money and all and the expense, even now we cannot catch up, but we can rebuild in the future. The greatest city of St. Louis, we overcome many obstacles and many disasters, you know, like we are one of the greatest cities in the nation from the 18th centuries all the way to the 19th centuries. This is it. This is the core and the hub of everything's happening around us. 1804, Louisiana Purchase, which is that opened up the door wide for like a gateway to the west to become gateway to the west. Like St. Louis becomes the spotlight. In the Mississippi River, we have like a mile of steamboats, sometimes third way into the river, sometimes like 1 mile, 2 miles on the banks of the river. The Great Fire in St. Louis, 1849, caused by steamboat. And they try to push the boat away from the city so the river will take it. A windy day, so the boat came back and would like engulf other 25 steamer boats, and it becomes the Great Fire. But you know, guess what? We rebuilt. We built the city, and we kept living.
One of the things I find so interesting is you come from another culture and you move to the United States, but you have this feeling that you have to find people of your own culture to share food with.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's just like what you're saying now with people here. You know, they wanted to find other Filipinos in St. Louis.
Right.
I'm yet to find a Danish person here yet. I haven't found anybody yet.
This coffee we call Zazwa coffee.
Okay.
Coffee came to Tunisia through the Ottoman Empire. The Turkish brought coffee to Tunis. You know, like for us, the Spanish brought the harissa, the Turkish brought the coffee.
I can make a phone call. Danes can bring some herring. I never found another chef from Denmark to trade notes and eat herring with. But perhaps St. Louis gave me something even more valuable.
If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but think that you can't, it's almost for certain that you won't. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You got to think high to rise. You have to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. If you think you will lose, you've lost. For out in this world we find, success begins, but the person's will is all in the state of mind. For life battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man. But sooner or later, the one who wins is the one who thinks he can.
That was beautiful. Meeting chefs from around the world, hearing the stories of struggle and odds they beat to make it, it's still a powerful lesson.
Just to give you a little background on my parents, I mean, they're just very, simple. They're just hardworking people. They decided that they're gonna take a chance and move everybody over. And I remember as a young kid, we lived in the kind of a shady area of St. Louis, and they would have to leave us at the house by ourselves. But it was really tough on them both having to work, and there was no choice. You didn't have a choice. I remember that as a young kid, they would always call, and I mean, I just always heard my mom crying over the phone, They still can't speak English today after almost 40 years, but back then, trying to work and on all of that, and trying to, put food on the table, it was tough for them, Very, very tough for them.
But humble beginnings makes you who you are.
Of course, I was in the South Vietnamese Army. Saigon fell in 1975.
I'm staying in Vietnam, maybe they can kill me.
When people talk about life or death, like at this point, they dropped everything, left everything.
Some people left Vietnam by boat, but 50% they make it. I don't think we make it, but...
You did?
Yeah, I did. I'm both people.
Lucky.
We're lucky, yeah. But I'm happy too.
The phrase food scene seems to suggest that it's one singular thing. But a food scene in any city is made up by a lot of different moving parts. Parts that are always changing, growing, evolving, revolving. It isn't comprised of any one place of food alone. And that's exactly what makes it work.
All the Jewish people have the same tradition, but everywhere had another things, another cooking.
So, because of geographic distance, distance, Jews lived in different countries, and so they adopted a little bit of the cultures that they lived in, obviously.
somebody from a culture, like something happens, a war, and they immigrate to a city, and they're trying to figure out how to find work, and it's hard to find work, and you know, they're trying to figure out how to work for themselves and make a life for themselves, and then also trying to make everyone else within that community feel at home. Yeah. So somebody always steps up and opens a restaurant. It really feeds the community. It's the heart and soul of those communities. Almost 20 years later, now it's becoming something where this is becoming an American staple because they are now Americans and they are citizens of this country, and they're providing this food to communities that aren't just Bosnian. They're American. They're, you know, maybe they're Latinas, they're Latinos, Spanish, maybe they're Italian, Irish, German, you know, and then all Indian, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're like, I love this dish. Like, I'm gonna look up the recipe, and then they make it, and then their kids grow up on it, and that's how we make American food. That's what American food is.
I'm going nowhere fast. I don't even know how I'm gonna get down. There are so many moments that just doesn't fit into the span of an episode, but something aren't meant for television. Something you can only truly experience by going yourself.
I got extra gloves, Chef.
I mean, you wouldn't want me to have a heart attack, do you?
Well, we also had to give him some lessons on how to say. He was saying New Orleans. And I say, no, you would never. It's Nolans is one word. Yeah. N'_AWLINS. You want to try that, Rick?
Nolans.
Look at that. Yeah.
Wow, I saw it! See, puppy. He has the best taste palate. There you go. What kind of cheese is this?
He's not agreeing.
These are seeds that he would actually harvest himself. Wow. It's not store-bought. This is all, you know, after he grows it, he'll leave a few to, you know, turn into seeds, and he'll save them, dry them, save them, and then we'll plant them. Hot pepper seed.
That's amazing.
This is from like last season. This is morphine, okay? Okay.
Your husband here, he had 3 names while I've been with you. Freddie, Danielle, and Poppy. So which one is the one that I should be calling you? Poppy. I don't think you're old enough to be my Poppy.
No. How do you pronounce Lasse?
Lasser.
Lasser.
Yeah, in English it would be Lasser.
Lasser?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's the biblical name is Lazarus.
Lazarus. Lazaro.
Yeah. No, you know, like I guess he wore a crown or something.
It's a saint?
No. Lazarus. Jesus resurrected.
Yes.
Yes.
Lazarus, right.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the guys. Well, it's a saint, I guess. No, I don't know.
Well, thank
Lazarus.
you. Thank you. You know, when do we as chefs get to cook together, you know, in somebody's house? This is perfect.
Thank you.
My biggest takeaway from this journey is the overwhelming confirmation of something I already knew. Food has the ability to comfort us, open our minds to new things, introduce us to other cultures. It's a peacemaker. It can create empathy for another's way of life. It can break down barriers that keeps us separated and open doors in a closed mind, just long enough to see things from a different point of view.
So I say, so here's my opportunity to go into a place, and what I wanted to create was a dining experience that people didn't care that the people sitting right next to them were a different race, because they were so in love with the food.
Food is something we all have in common, and something we can come together for. I may have already known these things, but it just makes me look forward to finding and telling more of these stories. I learned that food can convey feelings, memories, and emotions. It's things that seems to break us, that gives us a platform to create change. For me, this experience embodies a lot what makes St. Louis a great food city. It demonstrates that if you stop to pay attention, the common fibers that hold people together are the same everywhere. There is an atmosphere of community in St. Louis that you'll be hard-pressed to find in any other place.
I think everyone is really hoping that everyone does well. There's no like serious competition. Everybody wants everyone to do well in this town.
Yeah, LaSalle was right. This is the golden age of food in St. Louis. How would you say food is love in Spanish?
La comida es amor.
Okay. La comida es amor. Isn't that the truth?
So if you cook with your love and your heart, your food is always going to be good.
How do we say food is love in Tunisian?
ماكلة هي الحب. ماكلة هي الحب.
Yeah.
Mekla el heya hope.
That's what I say. Maybe he said it differently.
Nourriture, c'est l'amour.
Yeah, this is
French.
Food is love.
Food is love.
Maybe food is love. Food is love. Food is love. I feel it. Food is love.
Food is love.
Food is love.
Food is love. Food is love. Love your food.